and welcome back for another deep dive with us. We're going to be exploring a topic that could completely change how we experience books. Today, we're going to be talking about artificial general intelligence, or AGI for short, and how it might totally revolutionize the world of publishing. Our guide for this journey is a fascinating book. It's called The AGI Revolution in Digital Marketing, AI-Powered Strategies for Publishing. So get ready to learn how AGI might impact everything, from how books are written and marketed to how you discover your next favorite read.
Is a hot topic for sure, and one with a lot of potential to shake things up.
Definitely. To kick things off, I think it's important to understand the difference between the AI we hear about all the time and this idea of AGI. Could you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Think of the AI we have today as like a master chess player. It can beat even the best human players, but ask it to compose a poem, and it'll draw a blank. That's because current AI, often called narrow AI, excels in specific tasks, but lacks the broad adaptability of human intelligence.
So narrow AI is like a specialist with incredible skills in one area but no ability to apply that knowledge elsewhere.
Exactly. Now, AGI aims to mimic the full range of human cognitive abilities. It's not just about mastering individual tasks, but about learning, adapting, and applying knowledge across different domains. Imagine an AI that could write a captivating novel, compose a moving symphony, and then turn around and solve a complex scientific problem.
That sounds almost too good to be true. Could AGI actually achieve that level of multifaceted intelligence?
That's the ultimate goal. And while it's still in development, the possibilities are both exciting and a little daunting. Let's dive into some examples from the book that highlight AGI's potential impact on publishing.
Okay, so imagine AGI is unleashed on the publishing world. What's the first thing that changes?
One of the areas where AGI could have a massive impact is marketing. Imagine an AGI that can analyze mountains of data about reader preferences. Not just basic demographics, but things like your reading speed, emotional responses to different genres, even the time of day you prefer to read.
Wow, so it's not just about knowing if you like mysteries or romance, but understanding the nuances of what makes you tick as a reader.
Exactly. And this level of understanding could lead to some pretty amazing things. The book talks about how AGI could predict the success of a book before it's even published. Think about that. It could analyze the manuscript, compare it to successful books in the same genre, and even predict how many copies it might sell based on current market trends.
That would be a game changer for publishers. They could invest more confidently in books that are likely to be hits and avoid costly flops.
Precisely. And it's not just about big-picture predictions. AGI could also help publishers find those niche markets that might be overlooked by traditional marketing methods. Let's say there's a small but passionate community of readers who love historical fiction set in ancient Egypt, with a focus on strong female characters and magical elements. And AGI could identify that specific market and help publishers target those readers with laser precision.
So instead of relying on broad categories like historical fiction, AGI can pinpoint very specific interests and connect those readers with books they're likely to adore.
It's all about creating a more personalized and satisfying experience for you, the reader.
I'm starting to see how AGI could take knowing your audience to a whole new level.
And it's just the tip of the iceberg. AGI could also revolutionize the way authors and publishers build and engage with communities. The book talks about how AGI could help authors identify the best times to post on social media based on when their specific audience is most active, ensuring that their messages reach the people most likely to engage with them.
So no more posting into the void at 3 a.m., hoping someone will see it.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just scheduling. AGI could analyze the sentiment of comments and even help authors craft personalized responses, making you feel like you're part of a real conversation, not just shouting into a crowded online space.
It sounds like AGI could bridge the gap between authors and readers, creating a more meaningful connection between the people who create stories and the people who love them.
That's the ultimate goal. And it could have a ripple effect on the publishing landscape, fostering more vibrant and engaged communities around books. But the book doesn't shy away from the potential downsides either. For example, some worry that these interactions could feel too automated, lacking the genuine human touch that makes communities feel special.
It's a valid concern. How do we ensure that AGI enhances these interactions without stripping away the authenticity and human connection that are so crucial to building community?
It's a delicate balance, and something that authors, publishers, and developers of AGI need to consider carefully. The book emphasizes the importance of human oversight, even as these systems become more sophisticated.
That makes sense. Technology can be a powerful tool, but it's crucial to remember that it's ultimately a tool, not a replacement for the human creativity and connection that drives storytelling.
Absolutely. And speaking of storytelling, the book suggests AGI could even impact the way stories are created and experienced.
Now that's something I have to hear more about. So how could AGI actually change the way we experience stories?
Well, the book talks about the potential for incredibly immersive and interactive storytelling experiences, unlike anything you've ever encountered before. Think about those choose-your-own-adventure books you might have read as a kid, where your choices determine the direction of the story. Now imagine that concept amplified 1,000-fold with the power of AGI.
I'm already hooked. Tell me more.
Picture this. You're reading a fantasy novel set in a sprawling magical world. As you reach a critical decision point in the narrative, the AGI steps in, not just offering you a set of predetermined choices, but generating options that are tailored to your individual reading style and preferences.
So instead of just choosing between go left or go right, the AGI crafts options that are uniquely relevant to me and how I've been interacting with the story so far.
Precisely. Let's say you tend to favor bold, action-oriented choices in your reading. The AGI might present you with options that emphasize adventure and high stakes. But if you lean towards a more cautious and strategic approach, the AGI might offer choices that involve careful planning and diplomacy.
That's amazing. It's like having a co-author who understands exactly what kind of story I'm craving and helps me shape the narrative in a way that's truly satisfying.
The book also explores the potential for AGI to personalize the sensory aspects of storytelling. Imagine reading a scene set in a bustling marketplace. And as you read, the AGI generates ambient sounds tailored to the descriptions in the text. The chatter of merchants, the clang of blacksmith's hammer, the scent of spices wafting through the air.
Wow, talk about immersive. It's like the story is coming to life around me.
And this level of personalization could extend to visuals as well. The book suggests that AGI could generate personalized illustrations or even animations that evolve as you progress through the story, creating a truly unique and engaging visual experience.
This all sounds incredibly exciting, but I have to admit, part of me wonders if it's taking things a bit too far. Does relying on AGI for these immersive experiences risk losing the magic of letting our own imaginations run wild as we read?
That's a valid concern. It's important to remember that AGI should enhance, not replace, the essential elements of storytelling. The book emphasizes the importance of striking a balance between personalization and preserving the reader's agency to interpret and imagine the story on their own terms.
It's about using AGI as a tool to amplify the emotional impact and immersive qualities of storytelling without sacrificing the individual reader's role as an active participant in the narrative.
Exactly. And there are potential downsides to consider as well. The book raises some thought-provoking questions about the ethical implications of AGI in publishing. For example, as AGI becomes more adept at tailoring stories to individual preferences, how do we ensure that readers are still exposed to diverse perspectives and ideas?
It's like those online filter bubbles where you only see news and information that confirms your existing beliefs. We wouldn't want AGI to create a similar situation where readers become so accustomed to personalized content that they miss out on the opportunity to challenge their assumptions and expand their worldviews.
Precisely. And then there's the question of data privacy. As AGI gathers more and more information about your reading habits, how do we ensure that this data is used responsibly and ethically?
It's a crucial consideration. We need to be aware of the potential risks as well as the rewards of this technology and advocate for safeguards that protect readers' privacy while still allowing us to benefit from the incredible potential of AGI.
Absolutely. It's a conversation that we need to be having as a society. And the book does a good job of highlighting both the exciting possibilities and the potential pitfalls that lie ahead.
I think it's also important to consider the impact of AGI on the role of the author. If AGI becomes more involved in shaping the narrative, does that diminish the author's creative control over their work?
That's a great point. The book doesn't offer any easy answers, but it does suggest that the relationship between author and AGI might evolve into a kind of partnership, where the author sets the overall vision and themes of the story, while the AGI helps to realize that vision in a way that's tailored to individual readers.
So instead of seeing AGI as a threat to the author's role, it could be seen as a powerful tool that allows authors to connect with their readers on a deeper level than ever before.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to leverage the strengths of both human creativity and artificial intelligence to create stories that are both deeply personal and universally engaging.
I'm curious to hear more about the specific examples the book provides of how AGI could enhance the reading experience. What kind of things are we talking about here?
One intriguing example is the concept of personalized reading recommendations that go beyond just suggesting books based on your past reading history. Imagine an AGI that takes into account your current mood, the time of day, even the weather outside to recommend a book that's perfectly suited to that specific moment.
Okay, that's pretty cool. It's like having a personal reading concierge who knows exactly what you need to read even before you do.
The book also talks about AGI's potential to create personalized reading playlists that enhance the mood and atmosphere of the story. Imagine reading a suspenseful thriller while listening to a soundtrack curated by an AGI that knows exactly how to build tension and create a sense of unease.
I actually had a similar experience recently. I was reading a historical novel set in 1920s Paris, and I started listening to jazz music from that era while I read. It completely transformed the experience. I felt like I was transported back in time, scrolling through the cafes and listening to the music of that era.
That's a great example of how even simple things like music can add another layers of depth and immersion to the reading experience. And with AGI, we can imagine those experiences becoming even richer and more personalized.
This all sounds incredibly promising, but I can't help but wonder about the potential for AGI to be used in ways that might not be so beneficial to readers.
You're right to be cautious. The book acknowledges that there are potential risks associated with this technology, and it's important to be aware of them. For example, some worry that excessive personalization could lead to the creation of filter bubbles, where readers are only exposed to books that reinforce their existing beliefs and preferences.
So instead of broadening our horizons and exploring new ideas, we end up trapped in a literary echo chamber.
Exactly. And then there's the potential for AGI to be used to manipulate readers or exploit their personal data. For example, imagine an AGI that uses your reading history to target you with ads for products that play on your insecurities or anxieties.
That's a bit unsettling. It reminds me of those targeted ads that seem to know exactly when you're feeling vulnerable and try to capitalize on that.
It's a valid concern, and it highlights the need for ethical guidelines and regulations to ensure that AGI is used responsibly in the publishing industry.
It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how that technology is used and who controls it.
Precisely. We need to ensure that AGI is used to empower readers and enhance the joy of reading, not to manipulate or exploit them.
So how do we strike that balance between harnessing the power of AGI while also safeguarding readers' interests and privacy?
The book suggests several approaches. For example, it emphasizes the importance of transparency, so that readers are aware of when and how AGI is being used to shape their reading experience.
That makes sense. We should have the right to know if an algorithm is influencing the books we're recommended or the content we're seeing.
The book also advocates for user control, giving readers the ability to opt out of certain types of personalization or to set limits on how their data is used.
It's about empowering readers to make informed choices about how they want to engage with AGI in the context of their reading experience.
Exactly. It's not about rejecting the technology outright, but about using it in a way that aligns with our values and priorities as readers.
So it seems like there are both incredible opportunities and potential challenges associated with the rise of AGI in publishing. What are some of the key takeaways from the book that you think readers should keep in mind as we move forward into this uncharted territory?
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is that AGI is a powerful tool that has the potential to revolutionize the way we create experience and share stories. But it's crucial to approach this technology with both enthusiasm and caution.
It's about embracing the potential while also being mindful of the risks.
Precisely. We need to be active participants in shaping the future of reading, advocating for ethical guidelines and regulations that I'm sure AGI is used responsibly and for the benefit of all readers.
It sounds like the future of publishing is going to be quite an adventure.
Indeed. And the book ends on a thought-provoking note, leaving readers with a question to ponder as they navigate this evolving landscape.
What is that final question?
The book asks, if AGI could truly personalize your reading experience, would you want it to? It's a simple question, but it really gets to the heart of the matter.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the trade-offs involved. On the one hand, having an AI that knows your tastes so well that it can always recommend the perfect book sounds amazing. No more scrolling through endless lists of recommendations. No more reading the first few chapters of a book only to realize it's not for you.
Right. It's the ultimate in reading convenience. Imagine an AGI that not only knows what you've enjoyed in the past, but also understands your current mood, your interests, even the time you have available to read.
It'd be like having a personal librarian who curates a reading list tailored specifically to you, taking all the guesswork out of finding your next great read.
Exactly. But as we've discussed, there's a potential downside to all this personalization. What happens to the joy of discovery? That serendipitous moment when you stumble upon a book you never would have considered, and it turns out to be a life-changing read.
I've had those moments where I picked up a book on a whim, maybe because of the cover or the title, and ended up completely blown away by it. Those are the kinds of experiences that I wouldn't want to lose.
I hear that. And that's the challenge with AGI. How do we balance the convenience and personalization it offers with the need to maintain a sense of adventure and discovery in our reading lives?
It's like choosing between a carefully planned itinerary and a spontaneous road trip. Both have their appeal, but they offer very different experiences.
That's a great analogy. The itinerary might guarantee a smooth and efficient journey, but the road trip leaves room for unexpected detours and serendipitous encounters.
So how do we find that middle ground? How do we harness the power of AGI without losing sight of the things that make reading so rewarding in the first place?
I think it starts with being aware of the potential pitfalls and making conscious choices about how we want to use this technology. Maybe it's about setting limits on how much personalization we allow. Or maybe it's about actively seeking out books that challenge our assumptions and push us outside of our comfort zones.
I like the idea of setting aside specific time for exploration, for intentionally seeking out books that I might not normally gravitate towards. Maybe I ask the AGI to recommend a book that's completely different from anything I've read before.
That's a great strategy. And remember, AGI is a tool. We get to decide how we use it. We can choose to let it guide our every reading choice, or we can use it as a starting point for our own explorations.
Ultimately, it's about maintaining our autonomy as readers. We don't want to become passive consumers of content. We want to be active participants in shaping our own reading journeys.
That's a powerful way to put it. The future of reading is in our hands. Let's make sure it's a future that's filled with both the joy of discovery and the convenience of personalization.
Thanks for guiding us through this complex and fascinating topic. It's given me a lot to think about as I navigate the world of books in the age of AGI.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we understand about these emerging technologies, the better equipped we'll be to shape the future we want to see.
On that note, we encourage all of you listening to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep reading. The future of storytelling is unfolding before our eyes, and it's going to be an amazing ride.
Happy reading.